Hey, 21st of November. It's my anniversary today. 39 years with Mama. So what's next? That's what we always ask each other when the day rolls around. What's next? We've been through. Both of us have been through a lot of things in life, of each other, and of course together with the family. Uh, Somebody asked me the other day about why I'm so critical on this overnight in the woods stuff, mainly from my Washington State experiences. And a good friend of mine wants to know why I keep calling out about the content creators about staging their content. And it's quite simple. Like I myself, and I have no problem admitting it, I myself suck at starting a fire in the rain. I've never I've never conquered it to the point where I felt I could start a fire at any time, anywhere, in any environment, be it dark, dark and windy, dark, windy and rainy, any combination of the three, whatever. I I suck at it. And I guess the my biggest problem with the whole thing is when I watch the content creators, regardless who they are, regardless if they're survivalists, if they're hunters, if they're through hikers, sectional hikers, um, whatever, gurus, whatever you want to call them, reviewers, you know, whatever, regardless who they are. They all have one thing in common. That's a tell. That's a reveal. Okay? And you and I see it all the time. Might not want to talk about it, but okay? I know I suck at starting a fire in the rain. I know I suck. And what is the tell? The tell with me. If I was to give you a video of me starting a fire in the rain, what's the number one thing you're going to say? You're going to see geezer soaking wet. Or if I'm going to watch you start a fire in the rain, yeah, you, whoever you are out there, one of billions, you might be soaking wet, right? But not these content creators that we watch. They're never wet, okay? They're perfectly dry. How are you perfectly dry in the rain? Either you're under a tarp, you're in a tent, you're in a camper shell, you're in your truck, you're in your car, you're in your mobile house. It's been edited. You've edited the video. I think there's only one person. I think that's Sean Kelly of the Marine guy, the corporal, Corporal's Corner. He's the only guy I've seen wet trying to start a fire. The only one. Everybody else, dry as a bone. Go put up a tent in the rain. in the rain. You're putting up a tent in the rain, even with the fly attached. What's going to happen? The inside of the tent's going to get wet. Guaranteed. It's guaranteed you're going to get wet. But not when you watch certain people. Boom, 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 they're dry. That's not possible. You know it and I know it. Because if you do it, you're wet. If I do it, I'm wet. Come on. Stop staging the videos. Share it. What's the big deal? Oh, well, geezer, how can you get up there and share that you got soaked? You're incompetent. Maybe I am. Maybe I am. I can tell you that day in Baker, I was incompetent. I packed that bag all wrong. The fly became a UFO. A freestanding tent was blown away. And what was I left with? I was left with an emergency sleeping bag, a bivvy, 2 trash bags, a tarp, and my brain. I had a survival knife, a saw, and an ego. And I'm there. And I'm there but by myself. And everything's gone. Everything I had in the backpack was gone. And it's raining. And what am I going to do? I'm looking around. I'm thinking to myself, I got to find a hole. I got to find a hole to stick my body in. Right? That's the first thought in my head, a hole. I'm looking. I don't see a hole. The hole I saw was a bunch of trees. A clump of trees. Well, you're not supposed to go in a clump of trees because it's raining and all this bad shit can happen to you. Fuck that. I went into that clump of trees. Because if I didn't go in that clump of trees, I wouldn't be here today. I rolled the dice as going in a clump of trees. Then when I'm in a clump of trees, okay, I'm in a clump of trees and I have hardly anything because it's all been blown away. But guess what I did have? And my rain gear. And what did I do? My rain gear, which is twice as large as everything else I have on me. Right? I got an REI rain gear with a jacket that's 2XL. REI pants that are 2XL. So what did I do? I put my rain gear on over my clothes. Right? So I use my clothes as the insulating portion. I put the rain gear over the clothes, using the clothes as the insulator. The rain gear blocks the wind and keeps me dry. And then I was able to make my crib. Because the memory of what I watched in some of these YouTube videos was front and center. You got to make a crib. You got to get off the ground. Got to get off the ground. Put your rain gear on. Get off the ground. Because you're going to have to sit down anyhow. So you might as well sit down and be dry. Don't sit down and be wet. And you got to start thinking about what you're trying to do. So I made the crib, right? Because I remembered that's what you got to do first. Got to get your ass off the ground. Then I filled up the trash bags. Then I put the trash bags down on the crib. I got on the crib. And then I started to build a wall, a shelter around the crib. And that kept me busy, building that shelter with my little flag to figure out which way the wind's blowing. All right? 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 Maybe a little shelter. And miraculously, I made tea. And I boiled water for the soup. And I had some soup with noodles and tea. And I was dry. I was scared. And all I kept saying to myself was, first light, I could walk out. So I knew where I was, but of course at night you can't see. So first light, I'm going to walk out. I'm walking out. I'm leaving everything here, and I'm walking out. And that's what I did. I left everything there. I walked out. I left it there. I left everything I had except what was on me, and I walked out. Because I could replace everything. Except I couldn't replace me, right? That's the story. That's it. Common sense. I'm glad I had common sense that night. And I'm glad that the sun came up and I was able to walk out. Also, I'll never do that again. Ever. Nope. Nope. Too dangerous. Was I scared? Sure, I was scared. I was scared because it was raining. I was scared I was by myself. And it's dark. But I kept my mind busy. Making a crib. Building a wall. I wound up building 2 walls that night. I built the one wall over here because the wind was blowing this way. So I built that wall right there to block the wind. And then I built a wall over here on this side because I was fortunate to be between 2 fallen trees. So this tree was this way, and then there was a tree this way. So it gave me 2 walls to utilize. And my crib was here. I built a box right here, which is up against this limb and which is up against that limb. So both tree trunks anchored my crib. It was easy to make the crib between the 2 tree trunks. But then the wall, that wall was the hardest wall to make because it was very windy that way. But then the wind was whipping around this way. So once I got this wall up, then I was able to get this wall up. And then I was able to make my little fire right here with my stove. It all worked out. But I have to tell you, it was scary. It was scary how it worked out. That was the most scared I think in the woods I ever was. Was that moment right there, that situation. Because I was never in that situation before. Not by myself. But I found if you keep your mind busy, and I attribute to keeping my mind busy. I was keeping my mind busy, right? Building the crib, building the wall, trimming these saplings, moving around a little bit, thinking about making tea and noodles, just boiling water just to boil water. Because in the beginning, I was just boiling water to boil water to keep my hands warm. And then I was like, you drink the water and have hot water. You got a tea bag, you make some tea. And then as you keep thinking about things, and then I'm thinking, well, the first light, I'm out of here. And I'm thinking like, well, how are you going to, what are you taking? I'm not taking anything. I'm just going to get up and walk out, get to the vehicle. The goal is to get off the mountain and down to the vehicle, and keys in my pocket, I got them, and I'm out of here. That's it. And that's what I did. And I left everything there. Everything's replaceable. It's all stayed. I took a knife with me, took the hatchet with me, and a knife, and that's it. Everything else stayed there. Backpack, stove, food, whatever. Left it all there. Walked out. Straight down, 3 miles. Got in a car and never turned back. Never went back. Don't ever go hiking by yourself. Don't do it. Too dangerous. I can tell you all the dangers of that hike. And I can tell you the biggest fear, but it never happened, but it could have happened very easily, was injury. Was injury. Because if I got injured, I would have been screwed. You don't think so. You don't think so. You don't think your ego will allow it. It's not what your ego allows. It's the extent of the injury. Nobody knew where I was. Nothing. Too dangerous. So sure, content creators, I never see anybody wet. Never see anybody wet putting a tent up. Never see anybody wet putting a tarp up. Nothing. They're never wet. They edit it. Or they run inside their camper or whatever. They're fakes. And I don't care who they are. They're all fakes. Most of them. How can you say that, geezer? Just watch the videos. You tell me. Pouring rain and nobody's wet. Nobody's got water dripping off their brow, off their head. Their hats are not wet. Their gloves are not wet. Their raincoats are not wet. Their gear is not wet. The ground is not wet. What the hell? Come on. I tell it like it is. You don't like it, too bad. Anyhow, thanks for tuning in. And catch you on the next one. Dry or wet. Keys are out.